Hello team, I'm alive, and I'll be busy in the next few days. So, I know this patch introduces a lot of really good stuff, but we must wait. And I must roll a bit back because I'm way too close to the camera, which you might have noticed is different because I'm recording from my phone, which is actually pretty decent now, not like an old crap Nokia. So, new patch, lots of changes, but I can't make a video about it yet. Maybe I'll make one, maybe not. I have a lot of work to do. It's for HoN though. That's right, I'm doing work for HoN. Yes, oh my god. Oh my god. So what is this video about? Well, basically you're going to join me. First of all, you're joining me, right? You're not going anywhere. Let's be honest. There's a new patch. What's more important in life than a new HoN patch? Come on, let's be serious here for a second. This patch took months and months to develop. It's a balanced patch, so there's actually gameplay changes, not just avatars, although there were a lot of avatars, as you can check out in the avatar video, which I've also made. And the structure of this video is going to be not just me breaking down the changes and explaining, like, a gold decrease from 100 to 50 means that with the in-game gold, it will take you 50 less gold to No, I'm not gonna, describe every single detail. What I am going to do in this video is review. I'm going to discuss the changes and which changes I agree with and which changes I think could be made different, or could have been. I guess it's too late already. Although I have expressed some of my concerns in the super beta, but that didn't really work much. So yeah, I'm going to give it a rating at the end of what I thought about the patch. You're just going to listen to me and we're going to discuss it together. You will post comments on which changes you liked, which you didn't. So yeah, Carrie's calling, the new patch. So here we go. First of all, Rift Wars repick cost decreased. You can't even play Rift Wars. It still profits, so whatever. Spore Spitter. He no longer slows your attack speed, only movement speed, which makes him less annoying to deal with as a jungler, because it was super annoying before, because it slowed down your jungling speed, because you were just attacking less often. And when it's just a movement speed slow, it's not as scary, basically, and not as annoying. So Torment rules, something happened. Mid Wars no longer Snutter. The thing about Snutter and Mid Wars is I felt about him the same now as I did all the time before. The creeps just spawn way too fast. I mean, it's fun, it's not a bad idea, I think. It's just the execution is kind of poor, because creeps are just too often, they spawn too often. It's just bad, basically. Next we have Dromeda. So, now when you use your ultimate, it adds a tapering armor. What's tapering? What's this tape thing? Basically, it starts off at that number that you see there, or I guess there, and it starts decreasing. And when it's about to be over, it's basically 0. So Andromeda puts herself in a lot of danger when she uses her ultimate, and this is supposed to help that. Good change, whatever. Andromeda needed help, so we're gonna go to the next change, which is to the super overpowered Beaver. Or at least he was super overpowered until everyone was like, wait a second, he's not super overpowered anymore. But too late, he's already nerfed. His third skill now costs more mana. The Q change can be ignored. It's not really, doesn't really do much. Kind of helps catch Benzington when he's trying to escape. But yeah, the third skill, I'm glad they didn't decrease the damage. At least that's the correct direction. But I'm not sure if it even needed a mana cost increase, because everyone is kind of already getting used to Benzington, and I don't know. I mean, he's strong early game, kind of trash late game. That's kind of the point of the hero. So, weird change. Next, we have an actually good change. Blacksmith got a Staff of the Master that is, at first glance, horribly overpowered, broken. What other words we can use? Dominating, wrecking. When you attack, you have a 10% chance to cast one of your skills without any mana cost or cooldown. So even if all your skills are on cooldown, you attack just with a normal auto attack, you can do a 4 times multicast of your stun. So here's the plan. You get Steam Boots, so you can attack more often. You get Staff of the Master for this effect. You get Elder Parasite, so that you can attack even faster. Last but not least, you get a Brutalizer, because a 10% chance to cast a stun is already like a Brutalizer, and it stacks with a Brutalizer. So basically make sure they never move ever. And I'll probably make a video about this because this is freaking fun. I don't even care at this point if it's maybe a bit overpowered, because it looks fun. It's gonna be fun to do. I already tried it. It's pretty freaking amazing. Next, Chronos. A lot of people will probably look at these changes, they'll go, why was Chronos nerfed? It's like armor decreased, stats decreased, damage decreased, and ultimate longer cooldown, less range, and yeah. The only important thing you need to remember, I guess now, in case you will be confused, you deal less damage to people inside the chronosphere from outside. So if someone's trapped in it, you're not trapped in it, you're hitting them from outside, you'll be dealing less damage. Basically, Chronos will still be dealing... I do wonder, if you're Chronos himself, though, and you're just outside your ultimate and someone is inside it, do you deal reduced damage? Could be it, but doesn't matter. The point is, Chronos was nerfed and you're wondering why. Chronos wasn't that strong. Well, the problem is that in the higher brackets, in every single game, there's a Chronos suicide. In like almost every single game. He gets level 6, and then he stuns you and your entire team in a huge area. And he just did it over and over, and is to try to like nerf him as much as they could, and he's still wrecked, which is why these changes. So I kind of think they went a bit overboard in nerfing everything, because as a carry, Chronos is a decent hero, but not like crazy good or anything. I think he was in a good spot. Just because of his suicide, he was nerfed like this, as I understand. Chronos has arguably one of the most powerful and difficult skill sets to deal with. Yeah, whatever. I suggested a complete rework of this hero. I was like, hey, S2, look, I want this hero's skills completely changed, all of them, to be a different hero. And that was like less than a week before the patch, so yeah, not very surprising that it didn't go in. But nonetheless, I wanted to rework. These changes are like whatever. I don't think I would have nerfed him differently. Kind of would have nerfed his ultimate more if it's a problem for the suicide. Next we have Chipper. The ultimate cooldown has been decreased. I'm not sure if this is even enough. I mean, he can farm more often with it, sure, but I don't know. I mean, it's 45-second cooldown still. That's pretty significant. I mean, you can farm creeps with it, but 45 seconds, man, still kind of long. Could have reduced a bit more, but Chipper needed this help, so good. Cthulhufun, his third skill has been nerfed, no longer goes through magic community, which everyone is complaining how it's too strong. I don't know, I played against Cthulhufun and I really saw the problem. The Filer agility increased. Draconis, that last change is like whatever, let's be serious. Draconis slide buff. I'm not even gonna go into it. Slight buff to Draconis, yeah, good idea, whatever. Drunken Master, slight nerf to his ultimate. Did he need it? I don't think so, but I don't know. Yeah, there's not much in all. It's a kind of a small change, kind of. So, Ellonija, Staff the Master added. So the way Staff the Master for Ellonija works is, when you fire off your ultimate, which is the big spinning thing, it doesn't just come back to you the same way. It changes completely to like this huge ice thingy, and goes back to you, and it stuns everything on its way back, and it follows your hero. So if you shoot it, then you move here somewhere, it will come back to you there. So it's kind of technically possible to use your ultimate first. I mean, use your ultimate, not hit anyone with it, and then its way back still hit someone. So maybe a portal key build is in there somewhere. So what do I think about this change and why I think it's good? The problem with Ellonija was that her third skill, you usually want to use it first so that the target is stunned and you can land some skills on it so that it's slowed, and then you can land some more. It's easier because they're slowed. The problem with that is, however, that your third skill is stronger the more charges the target has. Like, the slower it gets, the more damage you will deal and the longer the stun. But for that, you have to save it for later. So what do? Well, you get Staff the Master now, which works for that. So that's a good change. I don't think this Have the Master on its own is really strong, but it just gives the hero more utility, because now you can do that stun first, then start slowing it, and then do the finishing blow with your ultimate, because it will deal a lot of damage. But I don't know. It's an interesting change. Kind of changes the way the hero is played, because you can't choose not to use the skill. Like, you can't choose so that the ultimate doesn't go back to you, and like, why wouldn't you want it to do that? Well, because when it applies the third skill stun thingy, it removes all the slow charges. So basically now your ultimate will definitely remove all the slow charges from them if you get a Staff of the Master. And do you want that? Maybe you want them to be slowed more. So changes the way the hero is played. I don't know. Flint Beastwood, whatever. Gauntlet added Staff of the Master effect. I don't like it. I think it's weak. Glacius now actually received an interesting change where his third skill, the Aura, passively grants maximum mana to everyone. I think you saw that in the video. I really like this change. I think Glacius needed help, and I even maxed out my third skill sometimes before, but kind of started maxing my other skills now because the offensive power they offered were so good. But now you can try max your third skill again and it'll work. But yeah, good, interesting change, which is always nice to have, just making the hero more interesting to play. Later, the cooldown on his ultimate has been reduced. That's like okay, I guess. Grinnex finally they realized, oh wait, that hero that we completely destroyed, nerfed into the ground, needs some help. So they helped him and increased his damage slightly, increased his agility, and his first skill now costs less mana on earlier levels, which makes a lot of sense because that skill cost so much mana before, even when dealt like barely any damage. And that's a good change. How are we on time? 11 minutes. Good. Let's keep going really fast. Hammer Storm. Your second skill has been buffed, but it's like not a serious buff. I don't think it'll change much. Clanks, an actually good buff. Like finally. The important part is that your second and first skills now cost less mana, which I have said before. The first skill is weak. Like it was too weak. You paid 160 mana to deal like, what was it, like barely 300 damage or something if you landed both. So now that's much stronger. You can use your first skill much more for farming now because it costs less mana, and you can basically be scared of missing it much less than before because it's less mana. So yeah, really good changes. I really like the direction they took with Clanks. So Clanks is now playable. Yay. Remember on the debuff duration of your third skill has been increased, which is when you charge through someone with the wave, your third skill with Myrmidon, it decreases their armor, the magic armor, not just armor, magic armor, and applies a slow, so now that lasts longer, so that you have more time to do stuff. So Myrmidon received an interesting buff, which is good, I guess. Parasite received a really interesting change. His second skill has been improved greatly, but the biggest change about it is that now instead of losing health, the creep gains health when you max the skill out, which means you can kind of stay in the creep forever. So basically find a Catman or something that deals a lot of damage, jump into it, and just run around forever. So I think this will be a huge buff to Parasite and his farming speed, and especially because he won't need to spam his second skill, and he'll have a lot of mana to gank. So basically a really interesting change, but one thing that's kind of dangerous here is that this change can potentially be super annoying if Parasite gets into like a catapult or something, because they're already pretty difficult to take down because they're magic immune, and now they'll be healing as well, and they have a ton of health too. So just like one thing there where catapults can become a little bit too annoying now, but nonetheless, really interesting change. Definitely needed because after the recent jungle changes and stuff, Parasite kind of fell off because harder creeps now give less gold and experience, so he didn't really receive any help to farm, unlike other heroes like Warbeast. His first skill, the wolves actually dealt more damage, but yeah. Puppet Master, overpowered hero, kind of got nerfed. Good. Yeah, his third skill deals less damage, his ultimate deals less damage. Rhapsody, first skill cooldown increased. Rhapsody is, I think she was in a good spot. I honestly think she was balanced. They say that they nerfed one of the best stuns in the game, which is the reason for this change. Well, I think then they should have buffed something else, because I think Rhapsody was in a good spot. This change was not needed at all. There's a Riptide, which is receiving a change. Not a buff, but a change. So your second skill that creates puddles, when maxed out, you can now have 2 puddles active at the same time for the full duration, which allows you to be in water for much more, which is definitely a huge buff to the hero. At the same time, they removed the deep puddle mechanic. What does that mean? Well, when you use your ultimate, it makes your second skill slow a lot, and that has been removed. Your second skill no longer slows when your ultimate is active. So interesting change. I'll need to try out Riptide, but being able to use your second skill more often is definitely a good change, because like, what was the point of the hero if you weren't in water form and you like barely had time to be in it, even maxed out? You like could use it on a small area and you had to stay there for like, what, 15 seconds? So yeah, now that's much better. That's good. Solomon, now his first skill is much better to like, much easier to use. I think people will agree. Solomon is not overpowered or anything. So I'm okay with this change. Scout, Electric Eye can no longer be missed when you're attacking uphill. That's good. Silhouette attack range slightly increased. I'm not sure if Silhouette was overpowered or underpowered. When I tried her after the rework, she was definitely strong. Early in the game she was a bit weaker maybe because of the low range, but like she was a really strong carry. I wouldn't call her underpowered, but I don't know. This just basically makes it a bit easier to play her, so whatever. I'll accept this change. Solstice, another cancerous hero, which I see every game, not just in high brackets, even in low brackets, every single game. And now his charge has less range, which is a really good change. He can gank worse now. And if you're maxing your third skill so that you deal more damage to creeps and you farm faster, your first skill, the first one of the charge, will suck, which is good. Screw you. Good. Tremble completely reworked. So I'll sum this up quickly. Your first skill is now an active skill where you toggle it, which means you turn it on and you turn it off whatever you want. So unless you run out of mana or turn it off, you can have it on forever. The first skill that deals damage in an area, which is a huge change, allows you to farm faster, and it still reduces damage from people who are far away attacking you. So really interesting, good change. The second skill, the Terramounds are no longer as annoying because you no longer need a revelation to kill them. So that's a thing. The third skill has been changed. He got the old Gemini skill where he does 2 attacks, where when you attack it counts as 2 attacks but deals a bit less damage. So obviously items that proc Brutalizer, Thunderclaw, etc. are going to be really good on this hero now, which is kind of conflicting because in this patch they specifically buffed Thunderclaw and Grunt Cleaver for melee heroes, and Tremble's a melee hero. So going to be interesting to see what build he goes there, and just buffs overall to like stats and pets. So next we have items. How much time did that take? 17 minutes. That's okay. It's good. We're doing great. So there's this new item called Veiled Rot, which is a weird name because rot is like, isn't it a verb? So I don't know. Basically it's a mushroom that you eat. It's kind of like the smoke from Dota, except it isn't used on your entire team. It's only used on yourself, where you become invisible and you cannot be revealed by words of revelation or a bound eye or anything. And it's a ganking item. You basically buy it, use it, and you gank. It costs only 100 gold, but you only get 1 charge, 1 use. It's a consumable, like a health potion basically. So you buy this, use it, and gank with it because you're invisible. Unlike in Dota though, you only use it on yourself, not on your team, but there is no cooldown on it, like a team cooldown. So you can buy this as much as you want. So my opinion on this is, first of all, this item, the type of this item, feels like it shouldn't have a mana cost. So that's something I don't like. I don't think it should have had the mana cost at all. Like, Homecoming Stone is a really strong item, in my opinion, the best item in the game. It's fine for it to have a mana cost, but this item is not that good at all. I think they're releasing it in kind of an underpowered state, which is understandable since it's a relatively new item and they don't want people to go, oh my god, it's too overpowered, everything, blah blah blah, even though like I think this is the best game in the genre in terms of balance, for sure. Sorry, just dying and stuff, you know. So I don't like the mana cost. So explanation of how the item works. When you first use it, you have a 2-second fade time similar to the Invis rune. In those 2 seconds, you can use any skills, like TP or whatever, and it won't break the invisibility. After that, for 30 seconds, you become invisible. And you're like, oh my god, you're not revealed by your like revelation or bound eyes? That's overpowered, right? No. When you come in within 1000 range of an enemy hero or a tower, as it says there, you're revealed. And 1000 range is pretty long. When you're invisible, it does have that range around your hero, so you can always see when exactly you'll be revealed. And it's a ganking item, but it's not super broken or anything, because 1000 range is a lot. Most skills are like 600 cast range. So you have at least a second, about a second, to respawn and like react to some hero when you see them ganking. But yeah, gonna be an interesting item for sure. So what's the point of you can't be revealed then? Because like within 1,000 range of a hero, it won't matter if they have a Bondi or not, you'll be revealed. The point is so that you are not revealed by wards. So if they place like a ward bottom and the contra ward bottom, and you want to gank from mid to bottom, you just use this item and you go, and you don't worry that the Ward of Revelation will see you, basically. That's what it's for. And definitely will promote a more gank-oriented style of gameplay, which is good. I like gameplay. What? Okay, Warp Cleft. They have changed it by reducing its cost and reducing the attack speed it gives. This change on its own isn't much because it was done purely for the Thunderclaw, so we can ignore this kind of... Thunderclaw has been changed, so it's an item based on attack speed, kind of, where more attack speed is better because the faster you attack, the more lightnings you will proc. S2 saw that, everyone probably saw that, and they were like, why does this item give a ton of damage and a bit of attack speed? Let's make it give just mostly attack speed. So it costs a lot less now, so you can get the effect much sooner, and it's the same effect as before, just as strong, except now you get a lot of attack speed and no damage instead. And Charge Hammer is also kind of changed, where the recipe cost has been increased, but gives even more attack speed than before and no damage. So basically this item can be gotten much earlier than before, is stronger than before, much better for farming. It was kind of competing with, what's the item's name, Grimoire of Power, sort of in terms of farming before, kind of, on some heroes. Now this item straight up blows Grimoire out of the water, so if you want to farm as a ranged hero, you go for this item. So this is why the patch is called Carries Calling, because they're buffing the carries with this. Next is a rework of a Nullstone that I don't necessarily like too much. I think they could have done better here. Basically, they reduced the recipe cost to 0, completely removed it, so you can now disassemble the item and it combines by itself with just the Sustainer and the Blessed Orb. But I don't know why would you ever want to disassemble them into anything. Like, I can't think of a combination that you like. Okay, you can use the Blessed Orb for something, but like, yeah, whatever. And to compensate this, the active effect, or rather the passive effect, stayed the same, but it gives 5 less stats, and I don't like this change. Why do I not like this change? Because it was an alternative to Shrunken Head. Shrunken Head prevented most skills except for some single target skills that go through Magic Community, like Devour, like Succubus, like Gauntlet, which still stunned you through Shrunken Head, and so you got a Nullstone, which gave you protection against those, but not the rest of skills, which was kind of a trade-off. And the reason Nullstone was so good is because it packed so much value into a single slot, 5,000 worth of gold. Gave a lot of stats, basically a really good carry item, because it gives a lot of stats and stuff, and a lot of mana regen, kinda. And now that aspect of it is worse. It's worse as a carry item because it packs less gold into a single slot, which is why I don't like this change. I think they could have maybe decreased the recipe cost if they wanted or something, or I don't know, but I don't like the way they did this change. I think they could have done better, so kind of a little bit disappointed there. Did I speak out against it? No, I don't think I got the chance to speak out against it, but I don't really like this change because it kind of makes it worse as a carry item, which I don't like. I'm gonna be repeating myself, so I think I'll just move on, but yeah, I think this change could have somehow been done better. Behemoth's Heart gold cost decreased. So, what's the reason for this? Basically, there's kind of 2 heroes that really get this item often. Berserker and Ra, because they have skills that depend on how much health you have. So it's kind of a buff to those 2 heroes. I can understand maybe a slight buff to Berserker, although I think the hero was pretty balanced. But Ra, that you really need the buffs. So basically, you can think of this kind of as a buff to strength carries, because it's a strength carry item, mostly strength carry to get this, together with this change, the Frostwolf Skull, which is also for strength carries. So I think they're kind of together to buff strength carries more. Strength carries, strength carries, strength carries. Okay, I'll stop now being an idiot. This change is okay, I guess, but I think the the effect of it is kind of minuscule, and I'm not sure if it was really needed. Maybe this change was to make it compete with the Frostwolf skull, because that is now much better, but I'm not sure. Bound die, reveal range decreased, that's like whatever, just making bound die a bit worse. Frostwolf skull, recipe cost reduced. And projectile speed, you can ignore that. So it costs 400 less gold now. I think Frostwolf skull was one of the worst items, kind of in terms of cost efficiency, kind of, not really, but it was kind of bad compared to all the other items, especially Dawnbringer, what they offered. So it's better now. Yeah, that's a good change, definitely. I mean, here I can understand Frostwolf skull was kind of a weak item before, so they buffed it. But Behemoth's Heart, I don't think there was really a problem with it. I think the main problem, the reason people don't pick up Behemoth's Heart is just there's too few heroes who really need it. I think the reduction in price won't make it be picked up more or less often. So, oh, my parents are going crazy. Sorry about that. Gnome's Wisdom, heal increased from 25% to 30. Not enough of a buff. Buff more, please. Grunt Cleaver. Here's the other part, the melee part of the change for carries. The splash has been increased to 60%. Is this significant? Pretty significant. This means that if you get just 2 Grunt Cleavers, you can already deal more damage to units near the primary target that you're hitting. You can deal more damage to them than you're dealing to the primary target, and basically makes the item more fun. Is it enough of a buff though? I'm not sure. We'll basically have to see, but definitely a step in the right direction, because just barely any hero picks up the Grunt Cleaver anymore, because there's just so many alternatives to it. Now a change that I didn't really like, and I spoke out against it, but nothing was done. Shield Breaker. Damage reduced slightly by 10 on level 3 basically, but armor penetration increased slightly by 1. The math behind this is that basically you deal less damage on average until you get about 250 damage, which is gonna be late game. Starting from then you deal a bit more damage with this item than before. I don't like this change because the argument was it says that it pushes it more about negative armor, but it's just basically a nerf to an underused item. Barely anyone picks up Shield Breaker. I stopped completely going for minus armor build and Nomad. I maybe get a Harkons, but like no minus armor at all anymore. What to do? What to do with this change? Because it's just so like weird and out of nowhere. Like, what's the point of this? The item is basically bad because it's an attack modifier. If you get this, you cannot get Lifesteal, you cannot get Dawnbringer. You're stuck with the Shield Breaker, which reduces reduces armor by 7. Wow, wow. When I see someone get a Shield Breaker, I just stack armor until I have like 30 or 25. What is that 7 gonna do, really? The point of Shield Breaker is get it as early as possible and wreck people until it becomes useless later on. And now it's worse earlier. What's the point of getting this item now? Like, if you wanted to buff its late game aspect, you needed to increase the armor reduction more or something, I don't know. So basically, bad change. Bad. Not good. I don't like it. Why was this done? Spell shards. Recipe cost reduced from 1200 to 1000. I told you spell shards sucked. I told you. So basically what happens now is, I'll understand if you get this item. It's not a hero killing item. Okay, that's something you have to understand. The point of old spell shards was you get it so fast for the 6 magic armor penetration that people don't even have vestments yet. And you'll be like, well, by the time you get level 3 spell shards, everyone has vestments, you idiot. Those arguments are so retarded. Some games supports don't have boots for 15 minutes. And no, not every single hero gets a Mystic Vestments. No, just no. Okay? The point was to get this item before they get a Mystic Vestments, because once they get a Mystic Vestments, yes, you do quite a bit of bonus damage, but it's already much worse. So the new spell shards, doesn't matter if they get Mystic Vestments or not, the bonus damage it offers is not that great. But it's only 1000 gold for the recipe now, which makes it a lot more cost efficient in terms of math. I did the math, and basically if you want to kill heroes, get like a Grimoire or something else, or some carry items. Don't get this item to kill heroes. If you're a support, that kind of wants some more mana regen and to deal a bit bonus damage, kind of to help out more, get this item. I'll be fine with it now. Basically, that's my stance. It's kind of a support item now, and the gold cost makes it kind of okay to pick up sometimes if you want to deal some bonus damage. Boom. There you go. Good change. Demonic Breastplate, whatever. Doesn't matter. Iron Stone, finally, I was waiting for this change to go into retail for so long. Cost reduced from 300 to 250. Now people will be like, well, I still don't like Iron Stone. The health and mana Iron Stone offers is about that of 3 minor totems. So if you get Iron Stone, you basically get 3 minor totems. 3 minor totems roughly cost 150 gold. This costs 250, so you only pay 100 extra gold. And by the way, that's in a single item slot. 3 minor totems are 3 slots, but this item is a single slot, which is much better. But you only pay 100 extra gold for the ability to capture runes. Makes this item much more worth it, makes it a much better pickup early in the game, because you can get some other items with it together as well at the start of the game, because you don't blow all your gold just on this. Really good change. I like it. Finally I can get that item. I like Ironstone. It's a good item, good ganking item, promotes a lot of good stuff. Logger's Hatchet can be sold whatever. Iron Shield deflection lowered because it was kind of a little bit too strong, so I kind of like this change. I think the item is still good. Iron Shield is still good, I believe. So, yeah, whatever. Next, Lax 31 is the change I don't like. Mana cost reduced from 25 to 10. Just remove the mana cost. Just remove it. Just take it and get it out. Just no mana cost. Also decrease the recipe cost. And also another idea to buff it was when you use it on someone for the debuff and he dies, remove the debuff from yourself so that you don't have less armor after he's already dead. So like, this item needs buffs. This is not enough of a buff. Why is it taking so long? But it's a step in the right direction. Maybe I'll pick it up now, but it's still a pretty weak item. So god damn it, get on this too, come on. Blood Chalice has been buffed because everyone probably forgot about this item now. Cooldown reduced and now gives more mana. Good change. I can maybe pick up Blood Chalice now. It's actually a decent change. And finally, Vital Strength dispels physical type effects. I use kind of okay change, but not too important because how often is this gonna make a difference? Maybe if like a Berserker used his first skill on you already, like the chain, but he didn't blow it up yet, and then you use it. But kind of not too big of a change. So yeah, that's it for this patch. So my thoughts, there were quite a few changes that I kind of didn't agree with or seemed weird, but a lot of them were in the right direction. A lot of them I would have done differently though. And this patch took a really long time. Thankfully it does add a new item though, and kind of changes up the meta, which should be more interesting. But I think they could have maybe packed a little bit more changes into this patch to make it a bit more interesting. I hope I still have some time recorded on the phone left. And that's going to be it. I'm going to give this patch a 7 out of 10. It's a good patch. Keep in mind, it's not a bad rating because I'm not going to be this sugar daddy who gives out good ratings right and left. 5 is average. Average for a balanced patch. This is 7. Good for a balanced patch. So yeah, good patch. 7. Maybe 7.5 even. Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. I'm done. My throat hurts. God damn it.